All right. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at our first real kitchen cabinet planning software. And this software is going to be less applicable for built-ins and really more for kitchen cabinets, but it's still a good software to know. So the software is called Cabinet Planner, and it's available at cabinetplanner.com. There is a free trial version where you can use the software 10 times, absolutely free. And to use it the 11th, you need to pay, it's $100, I believe, or $99. And with the $100, you also get the ability to some more features, and we can show you what that looks like later on. I used this software back in 2007 and 2008 when I was building my first set of kitchen cabinets. And it just saves me a ton of time, and it actually hasn't really changed very much. It's been pretty stable since then. Now I'm going to be using this, what you're looking at here, and pardon me for just talking over the software here. I'm using this on my Windows, and it's an old Windows machine. I tried using it on my Mac, and it does run on Mac with Parallels installed, but it doesn't look that great on my computer for whatever reason. So if you have a PC, it'll run fine. If you have a Mac, it's supposed to run fine. So give it a shot on yours with the free version, and if it doesn't work with the free version, if it looks ugly, then you can skip it. So in our last lesson, we looked at on a cabinet by cabinet basis of kind of where those dimensions come from in the face frame and in the box and with the groove, or if you're doing pocket screws, how the dimensions can change. So we really needed to know that stuff first before we go into this, because we need to set the settings in here. As soon as this software loads, it asks you what type of cabinet you're going to be primarily using this software for. And you can change some of that stuff, but it kind of locks the software into what you're going to be building in most commonly. It'll ask you whether you want if primarily you're going to be doing face frame cabinets or frameless cabinets, or if you want a raised panel door or a slab door. So right now this is defaulted to a face frame cabinet, but we're going to go in and take a look at what that means. So first, let's go and look at the standards. So up here, I'm going to click standards, and we'll do general standards first. So this is general cabinet construction standards. Okay, so when I click on this, I see some assumptions that this software makes. And it assumes a dado depth of 3/8 of an inch, and that's what I would use as well. So that's half of the thickness of a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, 3/8 of an inch. Mount back is recessed into cabinet. I'm going to change that to an inch. Cabinet box material thickness is 3/4 of an inch. Cabinet box material names you can add: face frame thickness 3/4 of an inch, back material thickness. I'm actually going to change this to, we'll stick with 1/4 inch for that. Back material name, we'll stick with plywood. Shelf edge thickness 3/4 of an inch. Deduct for shelf length and deduct for shelf depth. These are set to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to leave it at that. So some of these may be slightly different than mine. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to go through how this software works in general. And then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the cabinets we're going to be building specifically in this course. And we will go through the parts breakdown of all of those on our own, like a little spreadsheet, or we'll write them out. And then we'll come back into here and show you how to use them in here. But for now, I just want to walk you through how this software works. Shelf material thickness. This is shelf edge thickness, material thickness. Not sure what the difference is there. Face frame tenon length. So we're using pocket screws, so there's no tenons in our face frame, so that's 0. Round to nearest 16th, sure. Box to face frame dado depth. So remember when I talked about how you can attach the face frame to the box of your cabinet using either pocket screws or dados or grooves? So right now this is the dado depth. So if you were to put a dado in your face frame and attach it, how deep would that be? And what it does is it takes these depth measurements and adds them to the dimensions of your box components. So you're kind of still right with the world in terms of dimensions if you have to change these. So right now this is set to 0, so it's assuming that you're not using a dado at all in your face frame. But we are going to do 1/4 inch for all these, just for ours, and we'll set this once, and then when we go back and build our specific cabinet, we have all the stuff locked in there. Scribe, I'm gonna assume no scribe here left and right, simply because we have a 1-inch back is recessed. The walls, so if you start building walls in this program, is what you do. See if I can scroll down here. You can't really. Crown height, if you want crown molding. Walls is set to 8 feet. Location assist, click and drag. Cool. When calculating master list. Hardware sizes, knobs, pulls. We don't need to worry about that stuff. Okay, so we'll hit save as default. Is there a door size here? So you can actually make this a certain setting. So I'll call this course, right, and setting 1. But you can assume different standards for different and save them as different settings, which is really nice. Okay, so we'll save as default. Go back to standards. We'll look at our base standards. All right, so base standards, height 34.5, depth 24, top rail 2, middle rail. I'm gonna make all this stuff 1.5 inch, bottom rail 1.5 inch. Okay, I'm gonna keep my top rail 2. My styles will also be 1.5 inch. All right, middle style 1.5 inch. So you can see like where we dimension this on paper. We're now just gonna plug them in here one time and then be done with it. Top drawer opening height, I think I said 5. So we'll stick with that. Middle drawer opening height, if you have a middle drawer. We don't on the cabinets I'm going to be building in this course, but again, this is where you would change it. Number of shelves for a base cabinet, I usually stick with 1 or 1 pull-out drawer. Either way, 1 shelf is good. A bottom rail lip. This is how high above the bottom of the box you have that lip there. So let's make that 1/4 inch. Actually, I want it kind of right in the middle of that piece there. So we're actually gonna go 3/8. That gives us 3/8, a 3/4 inch piece of box, and then another 3/8 inch lip on the bottom. So if that doesn't make sense, we will do this again on paper so you see what this looks like. Deduct for partition height. We don't have a partition in the ones we're building. Width of screw strip. Okay, stretchers. Stretchers go over the top or the back, connecting the box. So widths for these don't really matter because I usually just use scrap wood. Screw strip and stretcher thickness. Number of stretchers. Toe cabinet. 2 number of stretchers. Cabinet toe kick height. So 3.5 inches, right? Is there a toe kick depth? I don't see that. Off floor all cabinets with toe kicks. All cabinets, number of screw strips. So you see what's going on here. How this kind of works. Vanities, if you're doing vanities. Here's one. Door type. We're going to go with, actually you can click. So what's the door type 11? You can click this question mark and it shows you what they are. So we're going to go with, actually on the door, I'm going to be building first. I'm going to do raised panel, and it's this one. It is type 11, but like if you want to do shaker panel, it would be type 14. Glass inset would be 17, yada, yada, yada. So we'll stick with type 11. Default drawer front type. We're going to stick with a, let's do 5-piece raised panel drawer. Let's just stick with it. Let's go with that. You can also change it to slab front, so it's just 1 piece of solid wood. Actually, for face frame, whatever. We'll mess around with this stuff later. Desk height, yada 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 yada. Okay, so none of this stuff matters here. Full top, no. So we'll hit continue, and we'll do upper. We'll take a look at the upper standards. Upper standards for the one we're going to be building will be 36 later on. And again, we can just change this stuff to 2, 1.5, 1.5, number of styles. I'm sorry, with style width again, 1.5, middle style, 1.5. So this is the stuff you're going to be doing once you figure out if you want your dimensions. This is what you're going to be changing. And then this would be probably like something like that, 3/8 of an inch. All right, let's say this is good enough. 50. So a lot of this comes standard loaded. Height off the floor, 54 inches. That's an 18-inch gap between the top of your countertop and the bottom of your cabinet. That's standard. So this looks good. All right, so let's go. Again, we have door types. We'll do type 11 on this one. I don't know why they have top 21. So we'll do type 11 and we'll hit continue. All right. So that's kind of how you set the standards. And again, we'll go through these one more time. And we'll have to go through drawers as well to see what these look like. But we'll do that. We'll do that later. So just wanted to kind of get you exposed to this. So the first thing you need to do is create a new project. We'll call this course, we'll do this software demo. We'll call it the software demo for this one. Continue. All right. We're going to do set up walls. All right. This part's kind of tricky, kind of weird, but you're going to basically drag your wall, and I'm dragging and dropping. You can see the length is changing. So let's do a 10-foot wall. Let's just say that would be 120 inches. Great. All right. And I'll try to draw another one here. Oh, okay. It's going to do something like that. Let's see if I can select this wall. Oh, oops. All right, let's do this. This is tricky. All right. I think you get the idea here, though. We'll do 96 inches. We'll do an 8-foot wall over here. And, oh, you know what? Let's delete that. I think you can hit start from in a previous wall. I think you can do something like that. Aha! Just grab that corner there and you can pull this down. It's been a while since I used this. And this part's kind of tricky, but you just want to basically draw the lines where your cabin, your walls, and your kitchen are going to be. And we're good. Okay, so save and close. All right. So let's do elevation view. So we're going to pick a wall. All right, we're going to pick the long wall. All right. And now we can basically add a cabinet here. We're going to do lower. It's going to be, okay, here we go. Here's our lower cabinets. And we're going to do a one drawer, 2-door opening cabinet. Great. So we can click and drag on here where we want it. And I'm basically pulling the width out. So you can see like it's that number down there in the bottom left, that's the width of the cabinet. So if I wanted a 36 inch, let's do a 30-inch cabinet. Boom, there it is. Pretty cool. So the door overlay, right now it's set for a 3/8 inch overlay all the way around. We can change this to 0 if you want a full inset door. Okay, that's what I would do. Again, you can control the specifics of each of these cabinets as you draw them, essentially. And I could hit OK. And you can see how that just changed that. Okay, so one thing I can notice just by looking at this is I chose a 5-piece door for that drawer front for that top cabinet. So that kind of looks ridiculous with a raised panel in there. The doors look fine. Oh, you know what? The other thing we got to change about this cabinet, let's change the, see, there's basic door settings. So like you can tell by looking at this, that the rails and the stiles on this cabinet all look 1.5 inch and look good. The door pieces though aren't the same. They're probably 2 or 2.5 inch wide, so it looks a little weird. So we can go ahead and change that later on, though, in our door standards and stuff. Actually, I'm not sure if you can change it once you picked it. But anyway, we can kind of see how this goes from here. So let's add a hit OK, and let's go ahead and add another cabinet. Cancel. All right. Crap. Let's go change that real quick. Door standards. Door style, yeah, look at that. Door style width is 2 1/8, 2 3/8. So do 1.5 inch, and overlay. We'll do 0 for inset doors. Gap for paired doors. We're not worried about. Door standards. That looks pretty okay. Left style. Raised panels. We'll change these to 1.5. What the hell, right? Middle style rail. Sorry if this is a bit boring here, but this is what you got to figure out when you're messing around with this stuff. And rather you see me mess around with it, then you kind of go crazy looking for it. So save and apply to current job. All right, so we'll add a lower again. It'll be a one drawer, 2-door opening. And I'm gonna grab this edge, pull it over. Now, like the height's already set. I'm only gonna do a 30-inch door. Okay, cool. That looks much better. All right, so everything's kind of proportioned the way I want it. That drawer front still looks a little weird because I'd have to change the drawer settings, but I think you get the idea. So okay. Okay. All right, you can pick the material on this thing: left side material, right side material, toe kick. We want all that to be plywood, face frame thickness. All this stuff looks pretty good. All right, let's do hit OK. Oh, I gotta hit save. That's what I was looking for. All right, let's do another lower. Let's do a sink base. We'll do a 36-inch sink base. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to pull it out, 36 inches. Cool. All right. Again, we'd have to go in and change all the settings for this stuff, but I think you get the idea. I'm going to hit save, and then let's add another lower. We're tall. Let's do an oven cabinet. Right, so you basically can do this, right? We'll do 36-inch for this guy too. What the hell, right? Okay, so you'd be able to change the configuration of this. This is where your double wall oven would go in the center section. This actually looks almost nearly identical to the one we have in our house. So you get the idea here. Let's add a couple uppers. We'll do 2 opening. I'm just gonna click over here and pull it out. And I'll do 30 to match the one below it. Okay, hit save. Great. And then I think you can add like a window and stuff if you wanted to. Yep. And I will do that. Let's just say like right there. Okay, cool. All right, hit save. Okay, so that's our one wall. All right. We want to set up walls. We want to go to front view. So you can do a floor plan view and see that layout there. You can select your wall, and then again you come over here and you would do add your other stuff. So a 4-drawer base, something like this. Let's say you want like a nice fat wide 4-drawer unit there. It looks a little crazy for some reason. Let's hit save here. I don't know what's going on with that thing. And then how are we doing on timer? Okay. And then 3-drawer base, or we'll do another one of these. You can just drop that there, hit save. So you basically add these and hit save and go through what you want to do. And then we're gonna hit save this. You can actually go back over here on the right. Okay, we're gonna save this. We'll save that another time, but you get the idea. You can save all that. You can actually come over here and click on these cabinets. Okay, there's this list over here on the right. Okay, so once you've kind of laid out your kitchen in here how you want this, the beauty of this software is how it calculates what you need and cut lists and all that stuff. So we're going to come up here to calc, and you can do this piece by piece. So I think the best part, quite frankly, is the cabinet boxes. So you can do a material master list. So you can come over here to cabinet boxes, hit OK. And then what it does a little calculating for you and spits out your box material, your box parts for this project, which we called software demo. And you can go through here and see each of the cabinets it labeled as a unit. So unit 1 is cabinet 1 essentially. And this is how you can kind of, here's basically your parts list for the plywood only. And you can redo that also for your face frame. So face frame material and master list. Okay, and then it gives you all your little face frame parts, right? So, but I really like the panel layout. So come over to cabinet boxes, box material panel layout, hit OK. and it's going to give you first of all, it's going to ask you what kind of plywood are you, like what source are you using? And we're going to be using, say, 4x8 sheets of plywood. So you would enter 48 by 96, which are already in here, and the width of the saw kerf, so basically how much material you're losing every time you pass the blade through the wood, and that's 1/8 of an inch for most saw blades, and any edge margin you want to include. You hit OK, and then it gives you, you can kind of mess around with the parts here on a part by part basis. But for that little kitchen we just whipped together, which was really nothing, there's 34 plywood parts. And basically you have two methods of doing it. I don't really know what the difference is, but we're just going to do method one. And here you go. You have something you can really print here, but each of these larger rectangles is a 4x8 sheet of plywood. And you can see we're looking at page 1, unit 3, right side, left side. So these are the sides to that double wall oven. You scroll down, here's unit 7, other parts. So these basically are cutting diagrams, right? These are your cut lists, your cut sheets out of plywood. You hit page next. So right now we have 1, 2, another 2 pages, another 2 sheets, 3, 4 sheets of plywood. 4, this is 5, 6. So we needed 6 sheets of plywood to do that project. So this just saved us a lot of aggravation. So we can close this. Oh, okay. I'm gonna hit next actually. And do it next. All right. So that is, you can actually do cost calculations too, but if you know the prices of this stuff, so you can kind of optimize your material list here. So we're getting on nearly 25 minutes in this lesson, but so again, the advantage of this thing is if you're just doing one cabinet, we're gonna walk through one cabinet, putting the parts list together and coming up with a cut list and all that, using some free software online. But if you're doing an entire kitchen set of cabinets, a software program like this is enormously helpful. It drawers, backs, all this stuff. You can just use this. So this actually didn't include backs, so we'd have to do that was when we hit cabinet boxes and hit the material panel layout. It did not include backs, and the reason was our backs were 1/4 inch thick. Our sides, bottoms, tops, that sort of thing were 3/4 of an inch thick, so it separates them out for you. But I think you get the idea. And you could actually render this out in 3D if you wanted to see what, cancel here, if you wanted to see what this thing looked like. I don't know what's going on with this. Would you like to disable? Sure. So, if you're thinking about getting into professional cabinet making, you can kind of, okay. See, that was the issue with why that looked really weird. Not an ideal thing there. But you get the idea. This is really, I should have assumed that there, but oh well. So a very powerful tool, $100. It's really hard to beat. So I would encourage you, if you're using this course, to build kitchen cabinets and not built-ins, to give this a shot, and I think you'll like it.